My best friend's brother gazed at me with a new intensity. You won't believe what unfolded. My connection with Ben dates back to our teenage years. He has been my closest companion for almost 3 decades. We've shared the tender moments of high school heartbreaks, navigated the awkwardness of job interviews, celebrated marriages that blossomed and faded, and witnessed the gentle, inevitable evolution of life's priorities. When she extended the invitation to her family's lake house for the weekend, it felt like a gentle whisper of something familiar yet enticing. Just 2 old friends reconnecting, sharing moments and memories. What took me by surprise, what I could never have anticipated, was the way Luke, her brother, gazed at me that evening. It had been years since I last laid eyes on Luke. In our younger days, he was the captivating younger brother, his playful smile and confident demeanor drawing everyone in. Forever the playful spirit, sneaking cookies from the tray and casting charming glances at every passing soul. He was 5 years our junior, and in those days, that age gap felt like an insurmountable chasm. We were women, and he remained a boy. Yet, as time flows, it has gently reshaped that canyon in the most unexpected ways. I found myself arriving later than intended that Friday evening. The sun gently embraced the treetops as it bid them farewell, weaving long golden shadows that danced across the dock. The lake glistened softly, bathed in a warm, copper hue, serene and smooth like a mirror. Ben rushed out to embrace me, his arms open wide, laughter spilling from his lips as it always does. We embraced, warm and intimate, as she guided me through the door. The air was filled with the warm scent of pinewood, evoking a deep sense of nostalgia. It had been more than 10 years since my last visit, yet everything enveloped me in a familiar warmth, as if time had paused just for this moment. Warm throw blankets, cherished memories captured in faded photographs of sunlit barbecues and joyful childhood swims. The familiar sound of the creaky screen door echoes softly. And then my gaze fell upon him. Luke stood in the kitchen, the rich red liquid flowing gracefully into the glass, capturing the warm light of the evening. He turned when he heard us, and for a moment the room felt charged with an unspoken connection, motionless. He had matured, yes, but with a certain elegance. His hair, now a blend of salt and pepper, framed the curls that once held a deep jet-black hue, while his piercing hazel eyes, though softened with time, retained their captivating intensity. His face carried a subtle warmth reminiscent of the characters found in classic westerns. Embraced fully. Heartfelt. Laura? He inquired, his voice resonating with a richness I hadn't recalled. A soft smile graced my lips as I shifted my overnight bag comfortably on my shoulder. In the presence of warmth and allure. He laughed softly and approached, enveloping me in a fleeting yet tender embrace. And that was the moment I sensed it. It's more than the embrace. There was an undeniable warmth in the way his arms held her, a moment stretching just a heartbeat longer than anticipated. A whisper of something delicate. Something deliberate. As the evening unfolded, the 3 of us found ourselves on the back deck, gazing at the stars as they began to emerge from the deep, velvety expanse of the night sky. Ben had stepped inside to fetch dessert, leaving me in the soft glow of the evening with Luke, the gentle hum of crickets serenading us in the background. I always thought you were beyond my reach, he confessed quietly, his gaze averted. I glanced at him, taken aback. You were so young. Your skateboard seemed to capture your attention far more than our exchanges ever could. He offered a knowing smile. Perhaps. Yet, your presence lingered in my thoughts. You possessed this gentle power. I remember the way you defended Ben during those moments of conflict with our parents. You exuded a captivating bravery. I paused, allowing his words to linger in the air around us. How delightful, I finally said. I always believed you were unaware of my presence. He turned to face me then, and in that moment, under the gentle embrace of a summer night, the stars shimmered softly in the lake's surface. I beheld it. That gaze. It was subtle. It was gentle. It was a moment filled with warmth and connection, where every glance held unspoken words and every touch lingered in the air, creating an atmosphere rich with feeling. Inviting. Exposed. As if he truly perceived my essence. Not as I once was, but as I have become in this moment. And that gaze awakened a feeling within me that had long been dormant. It's quite intriguing, really. How is it possible to spend years without a thought of someone, only for them to return and ripple through your existence like a pebble disturbing the calm surface of a serene pond? Our words faded into silence after that moment. Ben returned, his presence alive with laughter and tales, and the moment lingered in the air. Yet, I found myself noticing Luke's gaze lingering on me throughout the evening, not in a way that unsettled me, but rather with a sense of intrigue. As if he were unearthing a treasure long forgotten, a delightful surprise awaiting him. The following day, we strolled along the water's edge, enveloped in the gentle embrace of the moment. The air was invigorating, laced with the delicate aroma of pine and the subtle essence of lakeweed. Ben stepped away to take a phone call, leaving Luke and me lingering in the moment, our connection deepening in his absence. "You still wear that necklace," he said, his gaze lingering on the delicate silver charm that nestled just above my collarbone. I gazed down, a soft smile gracing my lips. Yes, it was a cherished gift from my beloved husband who has passed on. I wear it always. His gaze became tender. "I recall the moment you received it. I found myself at the tender age of 16. You arrived for dinner, and your smile was infectious." "Those were beautiful years," I murmured, my voice soft. He inclined his head, a soft acknowledgement lingering in the air. "Do you still sense that connection with him?" "At times," I found myself confessing. "At times, it seems as though I'm gradually discovering the essence of myself in his absence." Luke gazed at me with a deep, unspoken connection. Perhaps that is the truest expression one can offer. We paused in our steps. The gentle breeze caressed the branches overhead, while a bird danced gracefully among the trees. As I gazed at him, I noticed a softness and a sense of stability in his expression. Not the carefree boy I once knew, but a man shaped by experiences, who had embraced the depths of love and the ache of loss in his own unique manner. In that moment, a subtle change enveloped the air. He gently brushed a stray lock of hair behind my ear. His fingers grazed my cheek, and I found myself momentarily breathless, not from surprise, but from the realization of how long it had been since I felt such a tender touch. As if I held significance. It felt as though I was truly noticed. I remained still. He felt the same way. The moment lingered between us, filled with a delicate tension, and just as swiftly, he withdrew, clearing his throat. He whispered an apology, his voice laced with a depth of feeling. I never intended to cross any boundaries. Yet he had not. Not in the slightest. I simply nodded, lost in a sea of unspoken emotions. That night, I found myself in solitude within my guest room, gazing at the shimmering lake illuminated by the moonlight outside the window. My thoughts swirled like a gentle tempest. Whispers of the past, emotions stirring within, and inquiries I had long kept hidden from my own heart. Something was unfolding, something that caught me off guard, and I found myself uncertain of its destination. For the first time in what felt like ages, a spark of curiosity ignited within me, urging me to explore further. The morning sun softly seeped through the delicate curtains of the guest room, bathing the wooden floorboards in a warm, golden light. I lingered in bed, enveloped by the gentle whispers of distant birds and the tender sighs of the house as it found its place in the quiet morning. For the first time in years, I found myself savoring the gentle embrace of the morning, free from the usual rush to begin the day. There was an enchanting tranquility about that lake house, a quality that seemed to stretch time itself. Perhaps it was the calmness of the water, or the comfort of being among those who understood my past. Or perhaps it was the way Luke's gaze had lingered on me once more. I truly felt it in my heart. In the soft morning light, the three of us came together around the weathered farmhouse table, sharing a moment that felt both intimate and warm. Ben was lively and engaging, recounting amusing tales from his day, yet I felt Luke's eyes lingering on me, a silent connection forming in the air. It was a gentle presence, softly introspective, as if he were unraveling the depths of his thoughts. And I must confess, I found myself lost in the same feelings. As Ben ventured into town for groceries, she graciously invited me to join her on the journey. But I gently refused, expressing my desire for a moment by the water's edge. Honestly, I craved a moment of solitude to reflect. As I strolled to the dock, a book cradled in my hand, I found myself lost in thought, the pages untouched. The gentle caress of water against the wood, the haunting call of a loon in the distance, enveloped me in a serene moment of introspection. After some time, I sensed the soft sound of footsteps approaching from behind. The moment he entered the room, I felt his presence without needing to look back. It was unmistakably Luke. "Would you mind if I joined you?" he inquired, his voice a soft murmur. A soft smile graced my lips. "Absolutely not." He sat beside me, maintaining a distance that felt just right, yet near enough for me to sense the warmth of his presence. We lingered in a comfortable silence, one that felt warm and shared rather than uneasy. Then his voice filled the air. "I truly hope I didn't cause you any discomfort yesterday." My gaze lingered on him. "You truly didn't." He released a breath, as though it had been trapped within him for far too long. "Wonderful. Because I truly felt it." That quickened the rhythm of my heart. "What did you truly intend?" I inquired, even though the answer was already clear to me. The caress, the gaze. It wasn't merely a longing for the past. It transcended the past. He turned to face me, the shimmering surface of the lake mirrored in his gaze. "It's about this moment. In the moments when I behold you, I see the essence of your strength, the beauty that radiates from within, the kindness that touches all, and the authenticity that makes you truly remarkable." Those words were unfamiliar to me. Not since my beloved departed. Not since I had softly withdrawn from the notion of being perceived in that manner once more. I found myself at a loss for words. I murmured softly. "There's no need for words," he responded softly. "I simply wanted you to be aware." The atmosphere surrounding us was electric, filled not with desire or anticipation, but with a profound depth of connection. A genuine openness. It was a moment that held a delicate beauty, one that could easily fade into the background if not embraced. As I extended my hand, I let it gently settle over his, feeling the warmth of our connection. His thumb softly caressed my skin. We lingered in that moment, our fingers entwined, as the lake sparkled under the gentle embrace of the late morning sun. "It has been ages since I experienced such feelings," I confessed. My voice trembles with sincerity. He replied softly, "Neither have I." And then we simply lingered in the moment. In unison. Let the quiet linger between us. As the evening unfolded, after the meal had been savored, Ben found himself upstairs, lost in the pages of a book. Luke and I discovered ourselves in the intimacy of the den, surrounded by a quiet warmth. The flames danced in the stone hearth, their warm glow weaving delicate patterns of light and shadow across the walls. "My heart goes out to you regarding your husband," Luke said gently. "Though time has passed, the weight of sorrow lingers, untouched by the calendar's march." "No," I said, taken aback by the gentle heat blossoming within me. "It simply does not. There are days that feel just right. At times, it gently envelopes me without warning." He inclined his head slightly. "I have experienced a loss as well. Some time ago. Though we hadn't exchanged vows, the depth of our connection was undeniable." "Cancer." Swift and harsh. My gaze followed his, drawn to the same place he was captivated by. Underneath the tough facade, he held a deep, unspoken sorrow. Distinct from my own, yet mirroring its depth. Perhaps that was the thread that wove us together in that instant. More than mere allure. More than just a memory. Yet, two souls who had each experienced loss, now finding themselves on the delicate edge of rediscovering the warmth of feeling once more. I rose to my feet, moving gracefully toward the window. Outside, the moon lingered low in the sky, spilling soft silver light over the water's surface. "Luke," I whispered, my gaze lingering on the glass. "What is unfolding between us?" He approached and took his place beside me. "I'm not quite sure," he replied with sincerity. "Yet, I cannot deny the depth of what I feel. Whatever it may be, it holds a profound truth." I turned to him, and our gazes intertwined, a silent connection sparking between us. There was a gentle stillness, an unhurried moment, with a question softly hovering in the space between us. He leaned in gradually, giving me the chance to pull away if I had chosen to. Yet, I chose not to. When his lips brushed against mine, it was a gentle whisper of connection, soft and profound. It was a tender embrace, soft and inviting, filled with a sense of discovery. A kiss that inquired, "Are you prepared? I desire you in this moment." As our lips met, a profound awareness stirred within me, resonating deep in my heart. I felt prepared. Prepared to embrace the sensations once more. Prepared to gently unlock the door to my heart, even if just a fraction. As we separated, words eluded us. It simply wasn't necessary. The moment resonated deeply, conveying emotions that words could not capture. That night, as I lay in bed, a sense of liberation washed over me. Or trepidation. Only potential. The kind I had longed for but never truly believed could exist. I rose before the sun graced the horizon, not from a sense of unease, but driven by a desire to witness the lake awaken in the soft light of dawn. There's a certain magic in that time of day. The gentle blue mist that lingers before the sun's warm embrace graces the earth. The quiet moment where it seems as if the universe is pausing, savoring the anticipation. I draped a soft blanket around my shoulders and stepped gently onto the back deck, feeling the cool air embrace me. The cool air wrapped around me, carrying the subtle fragrance of pine and moist earth, evoking a sense of intimacy with nature. The mist glided off the lake's surface, a soft secret shared with the heavens above. And then I sensed the door softly creak open behind me. Luke. He remained silent for a moment, simply stepping closer and offering me a warm mug of coffee, which I accepted with a gentle nod. His presence was comforting, as if he were meant to be there, next to me, enveloped in the quiet moments we shared. Rest eluded him, he confessed. Neither do I. We stood close, the blanket draping over my shoulders, gently grazing his arm with each whisper of the breeze. That moment held a profound sense of reverence. No sweeping proclamations. Take your time, savor each moment. Two souls gently emerging from their own shadows, drawn together in a delicate dance of connection. He shifted his gaze to me after a lingering silence. You linger in my thoughts, a constant presence that I can't shake off. I gazed at him, seeking any hint of untruth in his expression. There was nothing at all. I understand this is intricate, I murmured gently. Ben, she remains unaware. And I find myself lost in the mystery of it all. I'm not seeking solutions, he responded. I simply wish to share my truth with you. I took a deep breath, the comforting warmth of the coffee enveloping me. We've experienced so much together to engage in any pretense, I said. Allow me to share my truth as well. This sensation is profoundly genuine. And deeply unsettling. Yet gentle. That word hung in the air, a delicate thread connecting us. Gentle. It transcended mere excitement or fleeting desire. It was about discovering a softness in a world that had long been devoid of tenderness. That morning, our lips remained apart. Our bodies remained apart. We existed in that moment, intertwined and present. And that, in itself, carried a depth of connection that transcended the physical. Yet, naturally, the stillness was destined to fade away. Ben made his way back from town just as the sun reached its zenith. She swept into the room, radiating the familiar vibrancy that always accompanied her, arms overflowing with ripe fruit and the latest weekend tales. She remained unaware of the delicate change that had unfolded between Luke and me. Not at this moment. Yet, I felt the weight of each glance, each lingering pause, each fleeting smile shared between us. As the afternoon sun began to dip, the three of us set out on the water in our kayaks. The sun shimmered brilliantly on the water, and Ben's laughter filled the air as she playfully struggled to steer, her usual clumsiness adding a charming touch to the moment. Luke and I lingered slightly behind, our paddles gliding gently through the still, reflective surface of the lake. I've longed for this, Ben called out ahead. We all radiated warmth and connection. Luke's gaze met mine. So do I, he replied softly. Yet the way he expressed it transcended mere nostalgia. It was a moment like this. That evening, after dinner, Ben retired to bed early, citing a headache as his reason. I volunteered to assist with the cleanup, and Luke lingered, drying dishes next to me in the soft warmth of the kitchen's light. Our hands grazed each other softly, a fleeting connection that lingered in the air. Text, I believe it's time for us to share our thoughts, I murmured softly. He nodded, gently drying his hands on a dish towel, then leaning back against the counter with a relaxed ease. My feelings for her run deep. She holds a special place in my heart, I said. If she were aware of the connection blossoming between us, it would transform everything. Luke nodded, a gentle understanding in his gaze. I understand that feeling. May I pose a question to you? I have gazed upward. If we chose silence, if we continued to act as though nothing existed between us, would the ache be any softer? Would it render it any less genuine? I gently bit my lip. Indeed, it would not. He moved closer, the warmth of his presence enveloping me, yet maintaining a space that allowed me to choose the next step in this delicate dance. There's no need to hurry, he whispered softly. I feel a strong desire to be open, yet I'm deeply aware of the need to protect both you and her from any pain. I gave a gentle nod. Perhaps we can savor each moment as it comes. His smile radiated warmth, enveloping you in a sense of security. That night, I found myself drawn away from the guest room. Yet, I found no rest in his embrace either. We found ourselves once again on the deck, a soft blanket draped between us, gazing at the stars above. Our shoulders brushed softly, and our hands intertwined gently beneath the fabric. Time seemed to stretch, allowing for a gentle exploration of the moment. Take your time. Only solace. Embrace. A profound connection that lingered in the air, felt without the need for words. In the stillness of the night, I leaned into him, my head finding a soft haven on his shoulder as I surrendered to the warmth and closed my eyes. Tomorrow holds its secrets, I whispered softly. He responded with a soft, understanding tone, mirroring my own feelings. Yet for this evening, my presence is here with you. The following morning unfolded, bathed in a warm, golden glow. I stirred awake on the deck, the blanket enveloping us, my head gently nestled against Luke's shoulder. The lake shimmered softly, its surface smooth and serene, while the world seemed to pause, waiting in a delicate silence for the unfolding moment ahead. At first, I remained still. I found myself reluctant. The gentle cadence of his breath wrapped around me like a soft embrace, the warmth of his arm resting against my back, and the delicate rustle of the leaves overhead created a serene atmosphere that felt almost intimate. For the first time in what seemed like ages, I found myself free from the weight of anticipation, no longer bracing for an impending misstep. I felt deeply connected. In time, we found ourselves sitting up. He stretched and offered me a gentle smile, a tender morning expression that feels reserved for moments before the world calls for our focus. I could grow fond of this, he murmured. I remained silent, my fingers gently seeking his hand. Yet, as it often happens, reality made its presence felt before long. Ben discovered us on the deck an hour later. She emerged, cradling 2 mugs of coffee, her voice weaving through the air as she shared a delightful tale of a mischievous squirrel that had found its way into the pantry. And then she lingered in the moment. Her gaze shifted, drawing attention to the space between us, where our fingers lingered, parting slowly yet deliberately, a moment too significant to overlook. Her silence spoke volumes. Not at that moment. She gently offered me the mug and settled down beside us, a serene presence in the moment. We remained silent about it all morning, yet I sensed the change, a subtle vibration beneath my skin. As the afternoon unfolded, I found myself unable to resist any longer. I discovered Ben on the back porch, seated in solitude, legs drawn up beneath her. Her eyes lingered on the trees, yet I sensed her mind wandered to distant places. May I join you here? I inquired. She inclined her head gently. I settled beside her, the air thick with an unspoken connection, electric and alive. I should have shared with you, I began, the story of Luke and me. I never intended to keep it from you, I found myself in a state of uncertainty, feeling a stirring within me that I couldn't quite define. I'm still searching for the answer within me. She remained silent for what felt like an eternity, gently sipping her tea while her gaze drifted into the depths of the forest. He's my brother, she finally whispered. And you hold a special place in my heart. It's a curious thought to envision the two of you intertwined. I understand, I whispered softly. I assure you, I was just as surprised. Yet she pressed on, her gaze meeting mine, conveying an understanding of my journey. I understand the depth of solitude that has enveloped your nights. Your eyes reveal a depth that lingers, even in your smile. I fought to hold back the tears. And if someone, she added, her voice trembling just a touch, if someone is offering you a chance to feel vibrant once more, I would never obstruct that path. I reached for her hand, and she lingered, allowing our fingers to intertwine. Thank you, I murmured softly. But she said with a subtle smile, I'm going to need a moment to embrace the thought. I chuckled, a brief, unexpected sound that carried a sense of liberation. That seems reasonable. We lingered in quietude for a moment, the stillness wrapped around us like a warm embrace, comfortable and shared. It felt as though we had transcended into a more profound connection, emerging on the other side with a newfound honesty between us. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Luke and I strolled hand in hand along the tranquil lake, savoring the fleeting moments before my departure. The sun dipped low, casting a soft, golden glow that danced upon the surface of the water. The path unfolded in serene stillness, with only the soft crunch of pine needles underfoot and the gentle echo of a distant bird's call breaking the tranquility. I'm not anticipating a storybook ending, I murmured gently. With a gentle smile, he responded, I'm not offering one. Just a genuine connection, something inviting to discover. I faced him, gently grasping his hand. I desire that as well. He drew closer and pressed his lips gently against my forehead. Not a fervent kiss, not theatrical, but gentle, affectionate. As the moment to part drew near, there were no vows exchanged, no theatrical farewells, just an embrace that held a depth of feeling, rich with unspoken understanding. As I departed from the lake house, the sky deepened into twilight behind me, while the road lay serene and inviting before me. As I reflected on all that had transpired, I pondered the essence of loving once more, not with the carefree spirit of youth, but with the profound understanding that comes from having experienced heartache. I reflected on Luke's subtle power, how his presence enveloped me like a gentle stream rather than a tumultuous tide. As I reflected on my journey, I realized how many parts of myself I had kept hidden away, and perhaps, just perhaps, I was starting to let the light in once more. Not for another, but for my own heart.